Okay. Shalom, guys. Taking you on a little drive. I think that what I'm going to do is record this now and then premiere it later, because I've found... Oh, sorry. I had a feeling that was going to happen. What I found is that it's when I do that, I can actually do a live chat with you guys and have a conversation while the pre-recorded of myself is going. So I kind of like that. That way you guys have me live, at least to talk to, and you can still hear my jibber jabber. Well, it's not all jibber jabber, but I'm holding on to this for the moment because I'm going over a bumpy area here, and yeah. So anyways, I'm on my way to the post office. The post office where I'm going to send out things that you guys have ordered. Some of you have ordered coasters from me, ornaments too. Not necessarily for Christmas tree, okay? Of course, you guys know I'm a Messianic Jew, so Hanukkah push, yeah, I know. But you know, even like just a commemorative ornament sort of thing. So some of you are getting that. Also a ladybug painting to you, Mr. Dirksen. I hope I say your name right. I don't know, but you didn't tell me what size, so I don't know. I was just thinking about how little ladybugs are small, so I didn't know what size of painting you wanted, but anyway, so I'm just excited taking you guys with me on the road. Obviously, I have to keep my eyes on the road. I can only look at the camera for like a split second. But there's been some other things I wanted to talk about. One of the things that I've mentioned before, and I'll mention again, it's about to get really bumpy here, is just it's how important it is to respect one another in the body. Believers, we should have that anyways, but more recently I've had some really inappropriate comments, and that's always going to happen. I mean, that's if you put yourself as a public figure, that's always going to happen no matter what, so I expect that. But these are some that have come up before, and I just thought that I would kind of touch up on it again, because I think it's important for young people that have who are maybe going through something similar, but not just young people, I guess all ages, because obviously I'm not really that young anymore, and I'm experiencing it where people will harass or make fun or put down you because, or put you down, not put down you, put you down because you are single. I mean, the culture, not just in the USA, but around the world, has kind of become that you have to be with somebody. And if you are truly, one who studies the Bible and follows our King, you know that you don't have to be married to be fulfilling the mitzvah of being fruitful. You know, when God said to be fruitful, Adam and Eve, of course, were the only humans on earth. And if he hadn't said that, to reproduce and all that, we kind of would have died out, right? I mean, well, sin was what really killed us ultimately, but the thing is that there's a deeper meaning to that of being fruitful. It's a spiritual meaning of when I share, when I minister, it would be fruitless if no one came closer to the Father, to our King. It would be meaningless. I mean, that is my prayer, is that I would be fruitful in bringing people to God's kingdom and to knowing His heart more. That's being fruitful. That's the deeper meaning of that. There's always more to the word than what is on the surface. Our God is one of mystery and wonder, and so there's always more. Even in one word in the Bible, there's always more, and you have to dig deeper. You have to search it out. I'm certainly not against marriage. Obviously, that is a biblical thing. And I'm also not someone who has sworn to celibacy either. I know there was a time in my life when I thought maybe that is what God wanted, that He wanted me to just be, celibate for Him, which there's nothing wrong with that. It takes a certain calling, and maybe so. I don't know even now, but it's like if God also brought someone into my life, then there's that, It's really sad too. There's two sides of it. Sorry, so sorry. There's the other side of it where some people think that it's like so wrong and sinful to have desire for the opposite gender, and that's not right either, because it does say in the Word in Corinthians, when Apostle Paul, Rav Shaul, as we know in Hebrew, because he was like a rabbi, right, a teacher, he said, I'd like all to be like me, right, because he was single, right? He was celibate. But if you have passions and desires, then go ahead and get married, because everybody's got a different calling. So, I consider it a blessing when I mess with harassed as far as being the way that I am at this point in my life, because it's sort of expected by culture and such that for people to okay, sorry, I was trying to figure out what was going on right there. For people to be together, and plus, even in the body of believers, it's crazy how many people think it's okay for two people to live together when they're not married. That's not a biblical way of life. So, it's not a biblical way of life. So even if I had someone special in my life, I'm not going to be with that person until I'm actually married to them. It's just, and if you've lived that way, where you've lived with another person, you've kind of shacked up with them, God will forgive you. You can have a change of lifestyle, so I'm not here to condemn, but I am here to say that's not biblical. It's not the way that God wants. It's just I love people regardless of what sin they're living in. Homosexuality is wrong, abortion is wrong. I don't have to tell you, the Bible tells it. But I love the people regardless of how they're living. I don't see anybody less who's living that life any less than myself. Someone who's had an abortion, I don't see them any less. But I won't sugarcoat the fact that it's not right, and especially now when the lines are being so to look so faded between what is good and evil. It's really important to stand up for what is true, what is right, and to show love, and to show mercy. I get a lot of people on my channel trying to save me, so to speak, and it's somewhat humorous because I guess they don't know that I guess they don't know that I have accepted Yeshua as my personal Savior. But it's not just that, beloved. Accepting Him is only a very small portion of everything, really. The biggest thing is how you live your life. Are you loving people wholeheartedly, even the person who hurts you, flat out hurts you? Are you loving them? That is the calling. That is a difficult calling. It's tough, beloved. It's tough. But that is a calling. And I've been hurt just like anybody else in the world. Many times. I've had heartaches, heartbreaks. I've had, just because I share with you that I think, one should save themselves for when they marry and all that, doesn't mean I haven't had, people, I haven't had feelings in life experiences. I went to college and I'm older than people think I'm like, I don't know, 20 or 21. I'm older than that, and so, but I will constantly stress the fact that God's love is better than anything else you'll find in this world. And I mean, he's wonderful, and he's the author of all the beautiful things that happen, even the love of your life that you meet in this life. You know, God himself fashioned that person for you. And it's not enough to look at the outside of a person, but their heart is what matters. And I can always tell, you know, and I pray for that for you too, for your safety, those of you looking for your spouse. I can always tell when someone is faking too, when their heart is pure, when they're faking, because I have also met people who want to give all these these gifts and things, and want to say nice things, and it has another motive. But then I've also met people in my life that, like, their heart was genuine, and God's blessing was certainly upon them, and his spirit was in everything that they did, you know, every decision they made, and it was just fantastic. I mean, it's really special when that happens, to come across people like that. They mean what they say, they mean what they do, and it's not with another motive, you know. And for your spouse, if you have not met your spouse, you know, that person should be someone who doesn't just say they love God, and doesn't just know scripture after scripture, or knows all the right theology and has all the right answers. That person should be someone who really has a genuine love for you and for mankind. Someone who's like Yeshua. Someone who, you know, you can actually look at them and be like, yeah, I see things about this person. I see Yeshua in them. And don't be discouraged or disappointed when it takes forever to meet that person, because God has that person for you. But it also takes faith on your part too, to be able to believe and say, yes, God has someone for me. And again, you know, like I was talking about, some people are called to remain single, and that's not a bad thing. It's not a sad thing. I know the world wants to say that's a bad thing and sad thing, but when you're drinking and dwelling and feasting on God's blessings, his spirit in your life, you know, you're fulfilled, and that's the way it should be anyways, even with another special person in your life. And I've talked about this before, but I felt in my heart it was time to talk about it again, and to encourage those of you, because I know I have a lot of younger viewers, to encourage you that God has someone for you, but also, yeah, not to be sad or ashamed if you don't have someone. You know, God's love is greater than any shame that the world can try to put upon you. I've been teased before and stuff like that, and it doesn't bother me, beloved, because God's love is so great. And that's the point that you want to get to. You want to get to that point where that relationship is so strong and so fantastic that it doesn't matter. You know, whatever the world says, it doesn't matter. It's like rain off your back, you know. That's the place you want to be in. That's a good place to be in. So be encouraged. It's disturbing to me that so much of the rest of the world sees, like, now I'm going to speak specifically to the young women who might be watching this, that I don't know about you, but I'm disgusted and disturbed by the fact that so much of the rest of the world sees, or imagines anyways, that the women in the USA in particular, you know, are like these fast, dirty women because of Hollywood. I mean, Hollywood has done a disgusting job of putting that picture out there, and I'm here to tell you that that's, you know, Hollywood is not your standard. I believe you know that already, but be encouraged. Hollywood is not your standard. So what if you don't have a guy in your life? You have the King of the universe in your life, and you don't have to live like a slut to be loved. I mean, that's not real love. precious, real love, and you will know it when you have it. You will know. You don't. I mean, I get it. Even people in the music realm, the music videos, they're so disgustingly blah. Because it's all about the flesh and how many I don't know how many lovers you can have. It's really disturbing. But Hollywood is not your standard. God is your standard, and God has called you to be a precious bride. If you've lived a life, like that, where you are ashamed of it too, I'm here to tell you that God is greater than that, and He can cleanse you and make you whole again. I know for the guys too, maybe you've gotten mixed up with the wrong women, because it's, that's another thing. I hear a lot about guys that aren't so great, but there's plenty of women that aren't so great, or at least, they have the capacity to be great people, but they've let the evil one take over their life, and maybe they've hurt you a lot. And this year, I believe, is a year of restoration for a lot of reasons. Putting politics aside, it's a new year, a year to be reconciled with the King of the universe, which is much greater than any kind of special diet, right? And our King is an all-consuming fire who can refine you. And don't be afraid to ask Him for things. This is something that's come to my heart lately. As I saw from a post from a friend, don't be afraid to ask Him for things. I mean, He's your best friend. It's not that He's like someone you just come to and ask for whatever you want. I mean, there's a relationship there, but He's also your best friend who owns all the riches in the world. Because I went through times where I was like, God, please help me to be able to pay my next rent or whatever, and He always provides. So then it's like, why is it so much for me to ask God, please provide, not just rent, but why not a mortgage? This was something I was hearing a teacher talking about. Because if God always provides for the next step you ask Him for, why not ask for what you really want or what you really need? Don't be shy. He's your best friend. So, but also ask with action. Take action too. I think that's really important. You don't just sit around and do nothing and just hope and pray that God will do these things. You take action too, and you trust Him while you yourself are doing work. God Himself is not a lazy God. So, have expectation, but do work too, Hang on, I'm about to turn here. Okay. Shalom, beloved. So, my video yesterday, when I was recording on my errands for the day, the storage on my camera card filled up, so that's why it ended. But I think that's good, because now I get to actually talk a little bit about what's happening today, what has been happening today. I've actually been watching it from pretty much from the start, at least I should say from the start of when they started filming this afternoon. The protests at the Capitol. And a very historic day. I think I said that already, but if not, that's what it is. A lot of stuff going on. I heard that Antifa was going to dress in Make America Great Again regalia, get deep into the crowd and become violent. Whether or not that is the case, whether it is or it isn't, it's really sad, the state of our country, the state of the world. I did hear already, someone did lose their life for sure. That has been said. Whether there are others, I don't know. But yeah, even let's say it was someone who was started out as a peaceful protester, and then their emotions just got out, and they started to get violent, which is not good. This is not. We're not supposed to be this way. Even as I heard President Trump say, saying that I understand how you feel, but to go home in peace, and that was really powerful to say, to go home in peace, because that is what is to be. We are to have peace at all times. Of course, there are times in the Bible in which the wicked were overcome by the righteous in battle, physical battle. But there are also spiritual battles as well. I think about the story all the time of when the enemy was coming, and the people of Israel won the battle because they started to sing and worship to God, and the enemy was confused and started fighting each other. It was a miraculous story. I believe with all my heart, even though today is not ancient times, we still have the same God today. So I believe with all my heart that that can happen today. Doesn't have to be violence. Violence doesn't have to. Violence doesn't. It doesn't overcome the evil in the world. But I also realize that people who came to protest at the Capitol today, just because they have a God Bless America sign, a Trump sign, whatever, doesn't necessarily mean that they are a believer of God. And that there's a lot of, actually, there's quite a few people. There's a lot, yes, a lot of people who don't have faith in the one true God and are involved in this protest. So that is to be understood. I mean, a large portion of people who have faith in our King of the Universe are protesting today there, but a lot don't. So it's sad because it's not even fair. It's sad when I think of how some people will think, oh well, they've become violent, so that's not good. We don't want to have anything to do with that. But again, there's a lot of uncertainty and not a lot of unknowing. Was or was it not someone who was part of Antifa involved in the actual violent acts? But again, you're going to have people wound up. Even good people are going to be wound up, emotional. It's not good, but it's going to happen. So, yeah, I'm just sharing that with you. But this is even in the midst of this, beloved, and it is awful. It is awful. I will say that I agree. But even in the midst of this, God is still king, and he's watching all this. The Prince of Peace, the one who has created peace, he's got a plan. He has a plan in all the midst of this, regardless of who's president, regardless of what happens. And so it is something to rejoice about, and yes, to pray in somberness. I mean, for lives hurt and lost, and I don't know what's going to happen. What has been happening, there's a lot of information I think that we're not given. And it's a lot of information that's missing, but our king is still king. He's still awesome. Happy Three Kings Day if you celebrate it. It's still daytime, but by the time I post this or premiere it, it's gonna be not I don't know if it'll still be Three Kings Day. I know in Puerto Rico, where my mom was from, it's a celebration, Three Kings Day. It's kind of a fun thing. And you can look it up if you'd like. But I think every family has really their own traditions with it. But I think in Mexico you celebrate it too. So it's just kind of fun. The camels come to eat the grass that as a kid you put in a box. Something like that. I'm actually, yeah, I gotta get my box actually. Why, I have a box. It is the 6th today. So usually on morning of the Three Kings Day, when I was growing up, there would be a little gift. My box of grass for the Three Kings camels was empty or scattered on the floor. Grass would sometimes be scattered on the floor, and then there would be a little gift there, which was pretty neat. But I think I'm getting a phone call. But I need to end this anyways. I love you guys, and shalom shalom. In case I don't get to tell you, Shabbat shalom. Thank you. Hey, one more thing I forgot to mention is that my book that I have talked about before, I was out of my own copies of the books. I mean, you can buy my little book off of Amazon, but I know some of you some of you got from me books from me that I had signed, sent to you personally. So I've got 15. I really couldn't afford more than that for the time being, but I've got 15 of these books. So if you want one, my PayPal is on it's on this channel in the corner, in the upper right corner. So a suggested donation of actually, I do not remember what I had told you guys before with the book, but I do know now that I know more about shipping costs and how much each of these books cost for me to order them. It's best if you send at least 25. So again, it is cheaper to get it off of Amazon, much cheaper. But it's just, yeah, 25 suggested donation because of what I know it costs to get this book, for me to ship it and all that. So, and if you're new to my channel and you don't know about this book, it's not like a book about me. It's called The Open Door to My Soul, but it's the character in this book is a fictional character. Her name is Azia. Feel free to read about it though on Amazon. The information on the back. But The Open Door to My Soul. Yiskah, Wedekind, Lopez. Yeah, it's little, so I might do a second book, maybe. So, I mean, in regards to this book, I've been working on another book entirely, but I mean, a second, like a what do they call it? Sequel, right? To this book. So anyways, if that's something you're interested in, a signed copy, if you don't have one of my book, you like books, or this is actually family friendly too, so like younger people, all ages can read it. It might be a little over the head of some smaller people, but I don't know. You can be the judge of that, but just sort of let you know. And yeah, or if you want to send, you can send an amount to my P.O. box, which is always in the description of my videos too. And yeah, I also want to, I like to share about YouTube channels, friends in the description box below. Sometimes I forget to put in some of the people I know on there, so I'm sorry about that, my friends, but you can check other people's channels out too. Really great. But anyways, that's all I wanted to say. This video is so long now because I've added all these things. My hair's a mess, so shalom, shalom. Good night, guys. Or good morning whenever you're watching this. Shalom. No, sorry, I said I was leaving and I'm not leaving yet because I mentioned the book and realized that I didn't even mention my CD for the new people. The new people who don't know about my my latest album, that you could also, for 25, you can send them the amount, and I can sign it. It's got lyrics inside it. My last CD, my new CD, is already available to download. It's called Thank You for the Rain by Yiskah. And the physical album, if you want one that I can sign, will be out hopefully between this month and next month. So I'll talk about that when I get that. One more thing is I started making, from the ice storm that we had, from trees that were down. My landlords are amazing people, and they cut some, because I didn't have the equipment for it, they cut some of this for me. So I'm actually, what I'm doing is I'm designing, I've got designs on these. I just shipped out the last one that I had a design on, so I don't have that one to show you, but I also made an ornament, so it kind of gives you an idea. You can request something, maybe, I've had that for on a coaster, for a wood coaster, and I can wood burn it on there. A lot of people liked the little harps. I did harps on these, but suggested 15 for these. For one, 20. 20 I would say to send. It's going to be a smaller package than for the book and all, like the book and the CD. But $5 is still about $5 to send. So I would say 15 for one of these. Yeah, just putting that out there. But yeah, people have told me what they want on their coaster, and then I would burn it, and voila, we're on their ornament. So yeah. Anyways, okay, now for sure I'm gonna be going. I just wanted to say that. So, shalom, shalom. Thank you guys for your prayers and support. Love you guys.